I'm cooked.
America talks a lot about fear, but we seldom ask, whose fear is it that America cares about? We don't ask because we'd quickly discern that it's not that of those who should be most afraid, those who this country beats down and discards. It's obviously not that of those who have nowhere to lay their heads at night, who are treated as subhuman, whose government rather give them a prison cell than a home. No matter how many knots white America twists itself into, pretending that there is something to debate, that the lives of Black people are intellectual exercises at best, and jokes at worst, I will not bend or break my back to join them, when the plain fact is this. On May 1st, 2023, on a subway train just a borough away from me, Daniel Penny, a white man, choked Jordan Neely, a Black man, to death. While passengers looked, some recorded, some helped. Daniel Penny grabbed Jordan Neely from the back, choked him for 15 minutes, and he didn't let go even as Jordan defecated on himself. And once he was sure the life had left Jordan's body, he spoke to NYPD and he went home. He went home. In a city where I have represented hundreds and hundreds of people, all impoverished, many homeless, many of whom were arrested and criminally charged for just entering the subway station when they couldn't afford the $2.75 fare. In that same city, on those same subways, Daniel Penny could kill someone for everyone to see and go home. Something Jordan Neely didn't even have, which is why he was on the subway in the first place, screaming out for food and water, and doing so in vain, because the people his desperate pleas would fall on would sit front row to his murder, and not a soul would lift a finger to help him. Why are you defending against a premise you need not accept? Is it mentally ill to be fed up, to be angry, to be desperate, that you do not have a bed, food to eat, water to drink, and that life has shown you time and time again that you're more likely to get it from a prison than from someone who sees you as human as they see themselves? Is it legitimate to be afraid of someone for that? Not nervous, anxious, agitated, concerned, worried, sympathetic, or to feel pity, but afraid? So afraid that you think you're in danger, that this man who has not touched you, presented a weapon, or made any advancement towards you needs to be put down.
Olayemi is a public defender, by the way, so I mean she's incredible, but I did not know how good she was at making long form video. I mean, this is incredible. She is really, really good. Olurinati is the name of the channel, is the name of her channel on YouTube.
Happens as the result of another thing. America is a country that systemically dehumanizes, abuses, and incarcerates both Black and homeless people, let alone those who occupy both groups. And New York City is quite literally one of the most expensive cities to live in the world. According to the New York Times, the average rent of an apartment in Manhattan is $4,975 a month. The average rent is $3,744 in Brooklyn. To rent an apartment, you need to make 4 times the rent and pay first month's rent, last month's rent, and security deposit. 1/3 of renters spend more than 50% of their income on rent in New York City. That's why there are more than 80,000 homeless people, and 1 in every 106 New Yorkers are homeless. Yet, they're treated as a mysterious plague on this city, rather than the result of a city that preys on us all. When Eric Adams took office in January of 2022, he initiated what could only be described as a war on the homeless. He added 1,000 more cops to the New York City subways to remove homeless New Yorkers and force them back onto the street. Once successfully forced back onto the streets, he then began tearing down the encampments they live in all over the city, throwing them out with all their belongings with absolutely no regard to placing them in housing, and even proposing a $615 million budget cut to the Department of Homeless Services, and even arresting both homeless people and advocates. I want us to imagine that the reality I just described and what happened to Jordan Neely are related, that one thing can cause another thing, that abandoning, vilifying, and criminalizing homeless people leaves room for others to do the same, and for an entire city and press to justify it. If you can imagine that, it shouldn't come as a surprise that in response to the murder of Jordan Neely, Governor Kathy Hochul said, quote, "People who are homeless in our subways, many of them in the throes of mental health episodes." And that's what I believe were some of the factors involved here. There's consequences for behavior. And Mayor Eric Adams refused to criticize Daniel Penny's decision to choke Jordan Neely to death. And he applauded NYPD after they beat and bloodied the New Yorkers who protested. In the world of the media, the name of the game is discourse and engagement. If something is news, they want as many people as possible talking about it, debating it. So facts are dismissed in favor of a million hypotheticals, devil's advocates, straw man arguments, anything to keep people pretending there is something of value in their opinion in a situation where there are facts. As a commentator, that formula is a particularly distressing one for me when a black person is killed by a police officer, a racist, or some other bigot, because I am asked to pretend that we haven't seen the event or America's heartless response to it before. But we have. Not only did Daniel Penny get to go home, he went to his bed, knowing that not only had he killed a man, but that the press would protect his name, the killer's name, while enthusiastically...
Yeah, they literally had his name and did not release it on purpose, and greatly embellishing the rap sheet of the victim. Please, let's take a breather and remember how insane that is. Like, they kept saying 44 arrests, 44 arrests. It's like, oh yeah? So you're telling me this guy is a routine, like what? Has he been arrested for what? 44 times. The fact that you would bring that up is insane because Daniel Perry did not know that. But like, for what? What is the 44 arrests? Oh, fare evasion? Oh my God, dude. Yeah, I guess death sentence time. I'm sorry. The past transgressions of the victim does not justify their murder. Okay? That is a insane standard that only applies to black victims of murder.
I could launch into an explanation of why Jordan Neely's rap sheet is not proof of criminality, nor his deservingness to die, and rather a reflection of the way he's been criminalized and failed repeatedly. But I won't, because no matter how much America pretends he is not on trial here. He is dead. There is no great big why, special circumstance, or unturned stone that justifies why Jordan Neely was killed, or why white America insists on pretending there is. America is a racist country with racist leaders, institutions, and media. Jordan Neely is dead because a white man wanted to kill a black man, and that white man is free because white America is glad he did it. That's the truth. I know what time it is, and so too do all of you. I actually want to encourage Sloss to sue Jesus because they're just about down bad in every way.
She's incredible. This was a great explainer. No notes. All right, we're going to move on from this now. It's an issue that I've covered so many times.